Today, the world may be focused on escalating war in Middle East, but another major strategic shift is quietly unfolding in Europe, and it involves nuclear weapons and has explosive consequences for global stability. We are standing on the brink of a new global security order, and the rules of the game are being rewritten overnight. French President Emmanuel Macron has just announced one of the most significant changes to France's nuclear policy in decades, sending a clear message to the world and more specifically to Russia. In a highly symbolic event at the naval base near Brest, standing right in front of the nuclear armed ballistic missile submarine, President Macron dropped a bombshell. He announced a significant expansion of France's nuclear warhead stockpile. France already possesses roughly 290 nuclear warheads, making it the only nuclear armed member of the European Union. Most of these weapons are deployed on submarine launched ballistic missiles, while others are carried by Rafale fighter aircraft. But Paris doesn't just want a larger arsenal, it wants to change how it is used. Shockingly, Macron announced the extension of France's so called nuclear umbrella to its European allies. According to this aggressive new plan, nations including Germany, Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Greece, Sweden, and Denmark will now participate in nuclear coordination with France and could even temporarily host French nuclear capable aircrafts on their own territories. For decades, NATO's deterrence systems meant that American nuclear weapons served as the undisputed ultimate security guarantee for the European continent. But the geopolitical landscape is fracturing. With the war in Ukraine, an expanding Chinese military, and intense instability in the Middle East, European leaders are reconsidering their total dependence on Washington. France is setting up to lead this new nuclear game, reflecting a growing urgent belief Europe must develop its own strategic autonomy and rely on itself for security. During his address, Macron delivered a chilling summary of this mindset. To be free, one must be feared. To be feared, one must be powerful. This new strategy is known as forward deterrence. It aims to send a clear signal that an attack on Europe threatens France's vital interests and could therefore trigger a nuclear response. But there is one crucial detail that remains unchanged. While France may extend its protection across the continent, the ultimate launch authority belongs solely to the French president. In other words, the umbrella covers Europe, but the nuclear button stays firmly in Paris. As you can imagine, this has set off alarm bells in Russia. The Russians are watching this incredibly closely, and the reaction has been harsh. Russian officials recently claimed at the UN that they have intelligence showing France and UK are planning to provide Ukraine with actual nuclear weapons. Moscow has officially described France's plan to expand its nuclear arsenal and coordinate exercise with European nations as extremely destabilizing, warning it forces Russia to reconsider its military planning. To Russia, integrating French nuclear forces into a broader European structure means any conventional conflict could escalate into a nuclear confrontation much faster. They have even issued grim warnings directed at the citizens of the UK and France, stating they will bear the tragic consequences of their leaders' actions. This aggressive posture is also raising massive questions for military neutral states like Ireland. As Europe pulls together on defense, will neutral countries be forced into participation? If joint nuclear submarine exercise happen in the North Atlantic, how close will they be to Irish waters? And exactly how much say Ireland have in the decision-making process? Anti-nuclear campaigners are already sounding the alarm. They point out that with US, Russia and China all modernizing their arsenal while arms control treaty weaken, France's actions are plunging us deep into a new nuclear arms race that the global economy simply cannot afford. And the timing couldn't be more tense. Very soon, a major nuclear power summit is opening in France, bringing together representatives from about 40 countries. The US and China are present, but notably, Russia is entirely absent due to the fallout from the invasion of Ukraine. But to truly understand Europe's complicated new security environment, we have to look far beyond its border. We have to look at the Middle East. Right now, the UK and France are getting deeply intertwined in the ongoing war involving the US, Israel, and Iran. This widening conflict is pulling more global powers into the region, directly threatening global energy supplies and international trade routes. Initially, when strikes against Iran began, Macron condemned the attacks. But fast forward to today, and the reality on the ground has flipped. France has authorized US forces to use its military bases in the Middle East. Furthermore, France has deployed the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to the Mediterranean to show solidarity and reinforce security following recent drone strikes. It doesn't stop there. France is preparing a military mission to escort commercial ships through the vital Strait of Hormuz. Macron claims this is purely defensive mission aimed at gradually reopening key energy choke point to combat massive spike in global oil prices. However, Iran and its ally Russia sees it very differently. To them, the arrival of French Navy in the Middle East is a move designed to add firepower and further destabilize the region. And the Iranians are not backing down. Despite continuous heavy attack from Israel and US, Iran is fighting back relentlessly. They are launching missiles and drones at US bases in allied countries and attacking Israel. The axis of resistance is fully activated. Lebanon is heavily involved and the Houthis are publicly stated their fingers are firmly on the trigger. Iran has frankly rejected any future negotiations with the US, claiming that the US-Israeli goals are failing and the Tehran currently holds the upper hand. Critics argue that France's deployments risk pulling Europe even deeper into this regional inferno. We are looking at a time bomb in the Middle East and rapidly expanding nuclear arms race in Europe. France is attempting to project power on both fronts, positioning itself as a dominant, fearful global military force. But as French warships sail towards a region already engulfed in flames and nuclear deterrence expands across Europe, the global security landscape is entering one of its most unpredictable periods since the Cold War. So the real question is no longer just about France. It's about the future of world's nuclear balance. Is this a strategy to prevent war or the beginning of a new era where nuclear deterrence becomes central to every major geopolitical conflict? Because if the world continues moving in this direction, the line between the deterrence and the escalations becomes dangerously thin. And once that line is crossed, there may be no turning back.